The village of Ebenreek was always covered in a pale, unnatural fog. People avoided the forest that loomed beyond, for it was said the mist was the breath of a dragon that never died. Children whispered its name like a curse, Phantom Fang, a dragon of shadow whose body was made of darkness itself, whose fangs glowed faint like ghost fire. Erendor, a wandering knight, arrived seeking truth behind the legends. The villagers warned him, "You don't hunt Phantom Fang. It hunts you." But Erendor's heart was hardened. He had seen kingdoms burned by dragons and believed no beast was beyond the sword. That night, as the mist rolled in thicker than ever, he ventured into the forest. The silence was suffocating, broken only by the sound of his boots against the wet earth. Then, from deep within the fog, he heard whispers, voices of men and women crying, begging. But these were no living souls. They were echoes of the dead. A shape emerged, vast, terrible. A dragon cloaked in shadow, its eyes glowing like cold embers. Its maw opened, revealing rows of translucent fangs that shimmered with spectral light. The mist curled from its body like smoke from a pyre. Erendor's hand trembled upon his sword. Phantom Fang did not charge. Instead, it circled him, a predator unseen, its massive wings spreading into the fog like living night. The ground beneath Erendor's feet grew icy cold, as though life itself recoiled from the creature's presence. And then it spoke, not with words, but with a voice that slithered into his mind. "You dare disturb my silence, mortal? Then your soul shall join the others." Its whisper was heavier than thunder, filling his skull, making his vision blur. The hunt had begun, and with the first roar of Phantom Fang, the mist around the forest thickened, swallowing even the moonlight. Erendor pushed deeper into the cursed forest, his torchlight flickering as though afraid. The deeper he went, the heavier the mist became, carrying with it the faint sound of screams. He realized with horror that these cries belonged to fallen warriors, souls forever trapped in Phantom Fang's shadow. Every step echoed unnaturally, like he was walking across hollow ground. Strange carvings appeared on the trees, scorched claw marks, too massive to belong to any living beast. The knight's breath grew short, the air thick with dread. Suddenly, the mist shifted, parting just enough for him to glimpse bones piled high, bleached by years of decay. Spears, shields, and broken swords lay among them, proof of countless battles lost. Phantom Fang materialized again, its scales rippling like liquid darkness, absorbing the torchlight. The ground trembled under its presence, though it made no sound. Its eyes glowed brighter, staring into Erendor's soul, weighing his courage against the hopelessness of those who came before. The knight gripped his blade tighter, whispering a prayer under his breath. He knew then, this was not a dragon of flesh and blood, but a beast bound by sorrow and death itself. The silence shattered as Phantom Fang roared, shaking the forest like an earthquake. Its cry was not just sound, but force. It rattled bones, cracked branches, and sent Erendor to his knees. Yet the knight rose, sword drawn, his steel catching the faint glow of spectral fire. The dragon lunged, jaws snapping with fangs that gleamed like blades of moonlight. Erendor dodged, barely escaping the crushing strike. His blade slashed through the misty scales, but instead of blood, shadow spilled, writhing like serpents in the air. Each strike of Phantom Fang was a storm. Claws gouged the earth, tail smashed trees into splinters, wings whipped the fog into violent whirlwinds. Erendor fought desperately, his strength waning with every blow, his mind drowning under the whispers that filled the air. Yet in his chest burned defiance. With each swing, he shouted against the whispers, drowning them with the roar of his own courage. His blade struck again and again, sparks flashing where steel met shadow. The battle raged not only with sword and fang, but with will and spirit. The dragon fed on fear, and Erendor refused to give it that feast. Wounded and weary, Erendor stood among shattered trees and bloodied earth. Phantom Fang loomed above him, its body wavering like smoke, its eyes burning brighter than ever. The knight's breath was ragged, his body broken, but his spirit was unyielding. The dragon lunged once more, its jaws wide to claim another soul. With a final surge of strength, Erendor drove his sword into the beast's glowing maw. A scream tore through the forest, half roar, half wail of countless voices bound within. The shadow erupted, bursting into fragments of mist that scattered across the sky. The forest fell silent for the first time in centuries, the suffocating whispers fading into nothing. Phantom Fang's presence dissolved, leaving behind only ash and echoes. Erendor collapsed, his blade buried in the earth. Though victorious, he knew the sun rose over Ebonreach, but its light felt dimmer than ever before. The forest, though silent, carried a weight that pressed on the villagers' hearts. Crops withered faster than before, and shadows lingered unnaturally long, as though refusing to leave. Erendor, resting in the healer's hut, felt the silence wasn't victory, but warning. His dreams were haunted. Visions of Phantom Fang's return, whispering promises of endless darkness. Each night, he awoke drenched in sweat, hearing faint growls in the distance. The elders gathered, insisting the night had not destroyed the beast, but merely awakened something older. Legends spoke of a cycle. Phantom Fang was not one monster, but the embodiment of fear itself, reborn each time the world sank into despair. The forest answered with a roar that shook the heavens. Mist surged forth like a tidal wave, blanketing the land in suffocating darkness. Phantom Fang returned, but now larger, its body forged of countless shadows, its wings blotting out the sky. The villagers watched in horror as the dragon's form twisted and shifted, parts of it fading in and out of existence. Its eyes no longer glowed just blue. They burned with fire, ice, and lightning, as though it carried the wrath of every storm. Erendor drew his blade once more, but it felt small, almost meaningless against such a titan. The dragon spoke, not in words, but in 1,000 voices shrieking inside his mind. You cannot kill what was never born. I am every fear. I am forever still. The knight stepped forward, his courage shining like a beacon. Sparks of light flickered around his blade as though his sheer will was forging it anew. He realized then, the fight was not with steel, but with spirit. The clash began again, fiercer than ever. Each swing of the knight's sword lit up the fog, but each strike from Phantom Fang shattered the ground like thunder. One night, a child vanished from the village, his laughter echoing faintly in the mist. Panic spread, and the villagers turned to Erendor again, pleading for salvation. The knight, still wounded, knew the fight was not over. His sword felt heavier, his heart burdened, yet his spirit remained unbroken. Standing at the forest's edge, he whispered, "If you hunger still, then take me, but leave them be." The battle dragged into the heart of the forest, where an ancient stone altar lay buried beneath roots and bones. The villagers had long forgotten it, but Phantom Fang circled it like a predator, protecting its lair. Erendor stumbled upon the altar mid-battle, and visions erupted in his mind. He saw centuries of warriors, kings, and innocents falling to the dragon. Each time, their fear only made it stronger. The altar pulsed with black energy. It was the source, the prison, and the womb of Phantom Fang. Realization struck. To defeat the dragon, he could not slay it. He had to bind it. He pressed his bloodied hand to the stone, chanting prayers he didn't know, but felt burning in his soul. The altar answered, glowing faintly as the dragon roared in fury. Phantom Fang attacked with blinding speed, but the altar's light repelled its shadowy form. The knight was being torn apart, his flesh burning, his soul stretched thin. Yet he clung to the altar, forcing his will into the binding. Every fear he had ever known clawed at him, but instead of resisting, he embraced them. "I am afraid," he whispered, "but fear will not rule me." A blinding explosion tore through the forest. Mist dissolved, shadows screamed, and Phantom Fang's colossal form shattered like glass, sucked into the altar. The earth shook violently, roots twisted back, and silence returned once again. Erindor collapsed, his body broken, his spirit forever marked. When the villagers found him, the forest was calm, bathed in unnatural peace. They wept for their knight, but he smiled faintly, whispering, "The Fang sleeps, for now." The altar stood unchanged, but its surface glowed faintly with the imprint of a dragon's eye. The villagers sealed the place, building a shrine around it, vowing never to forget. They honored Erindor as the eternal watcher, the knight who gave his soul to bind the unbindable. But on stormy nights, when the wind howls and the mist creeps across the fields, travelers swear they see a shadow watching from the tree line. The whisper always follows, "Fear me, for I am not gone. I am waiting."